Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, and it is another Tuesday, and I'm glad to be here. It is the 7th of March, and we're marching right along. We're marching into the month. The month is marching, and so are we. And I'm so glad to share this time with you all, these 1,800 seconds. I'm glad about that. In case people are stopping by and they don't know what this channel is about, let me just tell you from the onset, that this channel is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's about challenging ourselves to show up better tomorrow than we did today, about asking ourselves, doing some introspective thinking, asking ourselves, did I really show up better today than I did yesterday? And it doesn't mean that there has been any failure in yesterday. It doesn't mean that there is any failure in today. It means that we are just intentional and we're deliberate about making sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. That's what this channel is about. It's about engaging in a dialogue whereby we exchange thoughts. Sometimes I'm the one talking, but other times you're the one sending me your chats, and we are exchanging a conversation. We're having an exchange and a conversation about seeing what we can do to make sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Why would you say that, Cutler? Because life is because life and time is filled with swift transitions. There are dynamics of life every day. Every day is not a rose bed of ease. There are ups and downs and ins and outs and roundabouts. But guess what? We are strengthening and steadying ourselves for the challenges. And that's what we do during these 1,800 seconds. So I'm absolutely delighted that you all are spending this time with me. And I encourage you all to invite other people to come along, get on this ride with us, because we're heading to this place every single day. We're heading to a space and a place that's called better. That's what I want us to get in our hearts and our minds, that every day there is a destination, there's a place that has better that I'm heading to. And before I close my eyes for the night, I'm going to this place. I will reach this place that's called better. I want that to be, as we move further into this year, I want that to be your heartbeat. I want that to be your mantra, that every single night before I close my eyes, before I put my head on the pillow, I want to look back at the day and say, did I reach some place that's called better somehow? And something that I did today, did I do it better today than I did yesterday? And even if I did not do it better today than I did yesterday, do I have the mindset that says, when I see that thing again, when I see it tomorrow, I'm going to do a little bit better. I'm going to conquer it. I'm going to be victorious over it. And that's what better is all about. And so that's why we're sharing this time. That's why we're sharing this space. So yeah, if you haven't done so, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my channel, because we're doing this thing together. Yeah, we're doing it together. We're heading to the space, and this place is called better. We do it every single time we show up. We go to this place that's called better. And when we leave the conversation, when we leave these 1,800 seconds, we leave it and we say to ourselves, yep, you know what? I'm better for those 1,800 seconds. So I don't want to waste your time, but I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for being with me for the long haul. Today, I want to talk about how to create a path for others to follow. How to create a path for others to follow. Because one of the things that I realize, you all, is that we are not here for ourselves exclusively. We were not called or brought to earth just for ourselves exclusively. No man or woman is an island unto himself, but we have responsibility for and accountability to our brothers and our sisters in this thing that's called humanity. You all are probably like, Cutler is on 10 already. Cutler is on fire. But I really feel this in my heart and in my soul today, because I am so connected to people. And because I'm so connected to people in so many different settings, I always hear, continuously, I hear about when there's been a death in this circle, when there's been a death in that setting. And I think and I say to myself, wow, I hope that that individual was influential in somebody's life. And not only that, but I hope somebody was influential in his or her life. You all, we are not here as islands unto ourselves. And I hope this is resonating with somebody, but we are responsible for and accountable to other people. That's what makes humanity so beautiful, in the diversity of who we are, in the differences that we possess, in how we show up and how we be so dynamically. we are responsible for and accountable to other people. One of my mother's favorite poems that I wrote is called Tired and Weary, and it talks about, perhaps I'll read that before we leave this evening, before we leave this space, but it talks about how you can go through life and how you can feel one way and how life can sometimes seem to beat up on you, and you say to yourself, you know what, I almost gave up. My foot almost slipped, but I didn't give up because my brother or my sister may encounter these same hurdles tomorrow. And what happens if there is no one to help pull them or push them through tomorrow? So it is the responsibility for and the accountability to this thing that's called humanity. We don't like that. We don't like to talk about it because I want to do my own thing. I want to be real, and I've got to be myself. And as the French would say, il faut que je sois moi. Il faut que je sois moi. Moi. It's important that I be me. I can only be me. Yeah, I can only be me, but that does not alleviate the responsibility that I have to humanity. It absolutely does not. And I do some sort of introspective inventory every time I hear about someone passing that I may have had some connection or connectivity to, and I say to myself, was I a good steward over the time that that person was in my life? Was I a good steward over the times that he or she may have crossed my path? Was I a good steward over the time that the Creator gave me with that individual? That's what Tired and Weary was all about. I live today because my brother and my sister may become tired and weary tomorrow. And it is also a part of the responsibility. I wrote in another poem, it's about the responsibility of making sure that we befriend humanity. I think the words of that poem says, be careful. Be careful. I'll get to that one later. I'll get to that one because I think I may want to end the conversation with that one. But let me just do a shout out and see who's over in the chat first, because I've already taken off and I'm already on 100. But you all, do you feel? Tell me if you, like I sometimes do, I feel the pull and the responsibility of being the best that I can, not just for myself. Yeah, it's wonderful to have that I'm going to do it for myself mentality. That is a wonderful thing. But let me know if you ever have the pull and the push and the calling out of your soul that says, I've got to be the best that I can, not just for myself, but because someone else is coming after me. Not just for myself, but because I'm making an impact or an impression on other people. Let me know if you sometimes share that same pull out of the depths of your soul. I'm responsible. I'm doing the best that I can, not just for me, but because someone else is watching. I know educators feel like that all the time. I'm doing what I'm doing, not just for myself, but because I feel a connection and a responsibility to other people. Let me just do a shout out for those of you who beat me over in the chat this evening, the LTTC VIPs, and I'll come back and continue this conversation about how to create a path for others to follow, because that's important to me. That's why I do what I do. That's why I spend this time, and I'll talk about that. And I want us to catch the fire of our souls that says, I've got to keep being my best, not just for me, but because one day my eyes will have closed and I want to have made a difference in somebody else's life. I think about that all the time. I think about it, and I think about it not necessarily from a macabre or gruesome perspective, but I think about it from the perspective of what a joy it is, what an honor it is to make a difference in somebody else's life. People don't always look at things like that. That's why I'm always so careful with how I converse with and how I influence young people, because they're listening and they are impressionable. Let's talk about how to create a path for others. But before I do that, let me say a special thank you and a shout out to those of you who beat me over in the chat this evening. The top 3 people who got into the chats, from what I can see, are Annie Cutler, who says, let's ride, get aboard. It's always good to see you. Tracy Johnson, who says, hey, everyone, good evening. Good to see you as well. And then rounding out number 3 is Kimberly Montoya, who says, hello, all. Happy Tuesday. Well, happy Tuesday to you as well. Are you all having a good week? I know it's only Tuesday. Let me know if you're having a good week, you all. And let's go and talk about how to create a path for others to follow. But before I start the conversation with how to create a path for others to follow, I want to share a poem with you. Again, it's one of my mother's favorite poems. And I have to confess that it's one of my favorite poems as well. And it is indeed, yes, indeed, my son. It is in this book right here, which is called Who We Once Were. When did I write this book, you all? Let's see. How old is this book? Sometimes I have to go back and look at stuff. This book, wow. I wrote this book in 2007. Wow, 2007. But in this book, and it's available on Amazon, Who We Once Were, there's a poem that's called Tired and Weary. I'd like to share that poem with you this evening because it will get to the heart of creating a path for others to follow. Today, I'm tired of living, tired, just tired of giving and giving and giving so much until I give away my ability to get. Can't get up, get through, get there, get enough, get in, get out of my way because I'm tired of living. Today, I'm weary of life, weary, so weary from breathing and breathing breathless air, drinking dry water and thinking thoughtless thoughts. Thought I could, but I can't. Thought I would, but I won't. Thought I ought to, but I don't really want to be bothered because I'm weary. Today, I'm tired, just tired and weary, oh, so weary. But I live today because my brother or my sister may become tired and weary tomorrow. Let me know if you all like that. Let me know what you think about it. Again, that's in my book, Who We Once Were, the third book. One of the outpourings of my soul. I realized that in this thing that's called life, at my lowest point, I'm strengthened by my connectivity to humanity. And I consider the fact that there is someone who lived through something so that I might live through that very same thing. I feel like a preacher who wants to say, do y'all understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes it is at your lowest point when you realize I have the strength to endure, and I can endure this because someone else forged a path, blazed a trail, became the forerunner so that I can endure the same thing. So then my responsibility is to move ahead and show others and establish a pattern for others that you can make it, that you can endure, that you can maintain, that you can persevere, that you can persist, that you can thrive, that you can make it and make it successfully. So let's talk about how do we create this path for others to follow? And I think during our conversation, my offering tonight may become clear. Because as I see it, what I'm bringing to the table tonight, what I'm bringing to the conversation, what my offering is, what my gift is the power to see that you have the wherewithal to create a path and to blaze a trail for others to follow. We sometimes don't like the weight of that responsibility, but what an honor it is. What an honor it is to be the forerunner of someone else's journey. What an humbling honor it is. So Cutler, let's talk about it. Cutler, you only have 1,800 seconds and you've used many of them so far. So let's get into this conversation about how do we create a path for others to follow? What is it that really will set us apart if we are concerned about humanity, if we're really concerned about making sure that what I go through so that others can make it. I go through so that others can endure. I'll tell you one of the things, you all, and I just have these tips that I just need to offer. One of the things that I would suggest and that I offer to us tonight is the ability to have guts. Cutler, that did not sound prolific. It did not sound powerful. And I'm not necessarily trying to sound prolific or powerful, but I want to be practical tonight, you all. If we're going to talk about how to create a path for others to follow, one of the things that we have to do is to have guts. I cannot say, can I be honest, you all? I cannot say, I just can't say be fearless. I can't say completely, just be completely fearless, because that doesn't speak to a place of practicality. Because one of the things, you all have heard me say this, one of the things that we have to do is to learn how to manage your fear. None of us will live exclusively fearlessly. It is about learning how to manage fear. I can only imagine that civil rights leaders and women's rights leaders and religious leaders and people who take up various causes, I can only imagine that there is some degree of anxiety and trepidation that they had. But guess what, you all? You have to learn not to let fear paralyze you. That's why I say have guts. It is learning how to take calculated risks. If you're going to create a path for others to follow, sometimes we have to say to ourselves, you know what, I've got to learn how to take calculated risks, not just throw caution to the wind. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I'm suggesting is that we learn how to take calculated risks to the point whereby we don't become paralyzed by the possibility of failure as an option. I might fail, but I don't let the possibility of failure paralyze me. Because while there is the possibility of failure, there's the possibility of success, there's the possibility of winning, there's the possibility of victory, there's the possibility of getting to the other side, there's the possibility of standing in the winner's circle. Just like there's the possibility of failure, I have to change my lens and say there's the possibility of so many other things as well. And yeah, there are a lot of things that may come my way. Some things may look impossible, but guess what, you all? If we see the impossible as opportunities, it will give us that fortitude that says, I'm up for the challenge. T. Cutler, it would give us that fortitude. You all talk to me. Let me see what you're saying this evening. I contemplated going back to school to get my bachelor's degree after the birth of my son. I decided to do it because I felt that if I'm going to encourage him to achieve an education, absolutely, it is about becoming a model to the extent that we can. This McDiner, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Absolutely. I've got to become a trailblazer so that someone else can follow. I've got to be someone else's light in darkness. I've got to be. The weight of the responsibility sometimes gets to me, but what an honor it is to be somebody else's light in darkness, the same way that somebody was a light for me. T. Cutler, I know you'd get that. But what an honor it is to be somebody else's light in darkness, the same way that somebody was a light for me. We ought to thank God every single day for the people who were our lights in darkness, and some of them now sleep. We ought to be thankful. So not only must we have guts, you all, but I think everything that I'm thinking about tonight is just biological because I want to say have guts, but then I want to also say learn how to strengthen your legs. Cutler, what are you talking about? Learn how to strengthen your legs so that you can be prepared to navigate the hurdles. What does that mean? It means be persistent, because success does not always come without jumping over hurdles, you all. Yeah, I think I feel like a preacher tonight because I'm almost looking for the amens. You all know I don't always necessarily look at the chat for the amens and the affirming comments, but they would be really, really helpful tonight. You all tell me if this is making sense. If you're going to learn how to create a path for other people, sometimes you have to learn how to strengthen your legs so that you can be prepared to jump and navigate the hurdles. Because success does not always come without jumping over hurdles. And can I tell you all that sometimes the hurdles are so plentiful until they can seem insurmountable. I just jumped over one hurdle. You mean I got to jump over another one? Absolutely. But when you consider the fact that you are forging a path for others to follow, you don't stop at the first hurdle. You jump over it. And when you jump over that hurdle, you learn from it and you realize that every single hurdle will give you this, what I call this. I see the amens coming in. You realize every time you jump over a hurdle, you realize that each hurdle will give you what I call a strategic maneuver to guide you through the next one. Because can I say this to you all? Speaking of jumping over hurdles, you will never learn how to land on your feet unless you first learn how to jump over a hurdle. I want to grab this seat. I'm holding on to the seat so I won't jump up, you all. Can I say that again? Strengthen your legs. Strengthen your legs and be prepared. I'm talking about how to forge a path for other people. If you're going to forge a path for other people, you cannot stop just because there is a hurdle. That hurdle has to teach you some strategic maneuver for the next hurdle that you see, because you'll never learn how to land on your feet until you learn how to jump over a hurdle. Thank you, McDina. That's right. So that's why it's important to stay in good health and good mental health and good physical health and good emotional health to the extent that you can. You got to stay in good health. And then not only do I suggest you all that we have guts and that we learn how to manage our fear. Not only do I suggest that we learn how to strengthen our legs, but can I tell you this, you all, we need to also learn how to readjust our eyes. We need to learn how to readjust our vision, because when you are forging a path for others, when you're trailblazing for other people, when you're creating a path for them to follow, you don't want to look at things like everyone else does. When you consider the fact that there are other people who are coming behind you, you learn how to take existing ideas to a whole new level. Color, what do you mean? Can you think of any examples? Absolutely. Because can I share with you all that for the majority of the books that I've written, for these books, in my mind, I decided to readjust my eyes and say to myself, I'm trying to take these existing ideas to another level, to a new level. Yes, I think it's wonderful, and I'm thankful for the gift of writing, absolutely. But for me, it's not just writing, you all. What am I doing? I'm pouring my life and my voice between those pages, because one day when I'm gone, one day when I'm not here, it's just not about me writing creative works, but it's about me pouring my life and my voice between those pages, so that when other people pick up the book, when other people pick up the books, they will say, oh, that's his voice. That's what he still says to us. So this means that you have to see patterns that others have not seen. And it's not about doing more with less. It's about finding other ways and better ways of doing existing things. Okay, I thought I'd have a conversation with my nieces and nephews, because I have so many of them, and they're not always around for me to leave lessons. So I wrote this book. Yeah, I wrote this book. If I can't get into their hearts and their minds and their ears now, one day they'll pick up this book. And they'll remember, the uncle said, we don't always get it right the first time. I thought about it. Life is not always easy. Life is sometimes challenging. And the same way I don't want to become tired and weary. The whole notion, the whole crux of becoming tired and weary, I don't give up today because my brother and my sister might become tired and weary tomorrow. I wrote this. When I'm overwhelmed, how to handle life at its most intense moments. Tracy, yes, if I can help somebody, even when I'm gone. It's about doing something, an existing thing, a different way. How to talk to the young people, how to talk to people who are going through what you're going through, how to talk to people who will go through what you've already been through. It's about trailblazing. Those of us who are challenged from day to day, when we get up in the morning, what kind of self-affirmation can I speak over my life? So I wrote this. So what am I doing? I'm pouring my life between the pages. I'm pouring my voice into the pages. Hoping that I create a path for others to follow. That's really why I do what I do. And can I suggest something else for us, you all, tonight? When it comes to being a trailblazer, Invite newness into your life. Cutler, what do you mean? I mean, new ideas, new ideologies, new conversations, new paradigms. Why would I say that? Because innovative minds are always seeking out new knowledge. And I'm not talking about an intellectual level. I'm not talking about intelligence or intellect, but I'm talking about the fact that we open our minds up to something new, new conversations and new ideas. They pave the way for new and fascinating outlooks on life. New and exciting outlooks about what's going on in certain industries and certain corners and pockets of the world. Invite newness into your life. If you're going to create a path for other people, invite newness into your life, because guess what? The old stuff sometimes gets old. Be creative. Be creative. And I got to close with this one, you all. Don't ever close your mind. Whatever you do, whatever you're going through, if we're talking about how to create a path for others to follow, don't ever close your mind. Remain teachable. Let someone else disciple you. Be willing to learn something. In these past few days, even as an educator, you all, and I'll put this out there, recently I feel like I've been in this think tank with all of these MDs and JDs and PhDs and EDDs and all of these learned people. But one of the things that I've enjoyed about these conversations that I've been having is that everybody seems open to learning, open to new conversations. Nobody has taken on the mentality that says, I know it all, I know everything. Don't ever close your mind. Don't ever close your mind. The weight of being responsible for others and accountable to others can sometimes be unnerving. But I wrote one poem, and this is how I end the conversation tonight. I wrote this one poem that says, be careful with your life. Be careful with your life, for it soon comes to an end. Be careful that you make all creation your friend. I may just share that and read that with you the next time we open, the next time we have this dialogue and this conversation. But I thank you all. I thank you all for the opportunity to have a space where we can talk and dialogue like we do. Because just as much as I am pouring, I'm receiving every comment that you put into the chats. The whole notion of, yes, if I can help somebody, the whole notion of learning how to be creative, the whole notion of staying in good physical health and condition so that I can learn how to leap over those hurdles. The whole notion of being the model so that I can model things by precept and example so that I can be a living example. The whole notion of making sure that what I have, I want to be a light in somebody else's dark moments. Thank you all for that. So it's not just a one-way conversation, but it's a conversation that I receive when I receive the comments from you all. Thank you for that. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's keep our heads up and our hopes up. Let's stay safe and stay sane. And know that from my heart to yours. Kimberly, the next time we're here, I promise you, my friend, I will read it. the poem about Just Be Careful. I promise you I'll read that. But until the next time, let's stay safe, let's stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up. And as I was saying, know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be. Simply put, there is and always will be so much gratitude and so much love. Thank you all. Have a great evening. I'll see you all the next time. Good night.